Victoria here from creativehealingandwellness.com and Become Your Best Self and Transform Your Life. This is my day 17. Yay! Yesterday, I loved reading that excerpt I read, and I just had this thought that I would do a little bit of a series, like a 3-video series of my favorite teachers and authors, and read little bits of things that they have written. And these people are people that really inspired me. They helped me with my own personal transformation, and they also helped me in my vision for my business and my coaching. And yesterday it was Eckhart Tolle, and today it's Tara Brach. Now, I love Tara Brach. I just recently found her, and I was able to go to a retreat with her back in January, and it was an amazing experience. And I was so lucky that she was actually just near me, about 10 minutes away, so it was really cool. And I had such an amazing weekend. I was able to be a commuter, so I can, come home and then go there during the day. And she's a psychotherapist. She's a PhD, based out of Washington, D.C. And she's incredible. She's incredible. She talks a lot about fearless. Excuse me. Let me get some water. I'm stumbling over my words. I apologize. But she talks about walking and living with a fearless heart. And a lot of the stuff that I teach also is found in her works. And she's got 2 books out. The first book she has is called Radical Acceptance. I'd show you that book, but it's actually in digital format on my iPad, and I'm looking at the iPad right now, so I can't find it for you. But the second book is True Refuge. And she's incredible. Her words, she's so calm and peaceful. I mean, you can sit there and you just get serenity, which is really awesome. But she wrote an article for Psychology Today, and it's awesome. It's called Real But Not True, Freeing Ourselves from Harmful Beliefs. Our life experience is shaped by our beliefs. Gandhi describes how our beliefs become our thoughts and our emotions, which influence our behavior, and how our behavior creates our character, and then that determines our destiny. In other words, the familiar pattern of thoughts that continuously cycle through our minds actually ends up shaping our life experience. We create our own worlds. I'm telling you, we do. Our thoughts and our beliefs create our worlds. Now, beliefs about ourselves and the world that cause suffering arise from our experiences of severed belonging. The wounding that happens early in life when we get the message from our families and our culture that there is something about us that is not okay. And we all have a negativity bias, which means that the conditioning is strong to seek out evidence and latch onto whatever confirms that sense that something is wrong with me. Have you been there? Oh my gosh, I have totally. You're always searching for something. See, I told you I can't do that. See, I told you I'm stupid. See, I told you I'm never going to be amount to anything. I mean, come on, those thoughts go into your head all the time. Like, oh gosh, what am I, stupid trying to do this? Ugh, does not serve us at all. So crazy. So the second section is called the trance of limiting beliefs. When we are suffering, we are believing that something is not true. To live inside the belief that we or others are bad and wrong is suffering. Rather than directly feeling our hearts and responding to the life around us, we are viewing our lives through an interpretive lens that separates us. And I just want to interject. There's a great, not sure who said it originally, but it's a great definition of what beliefs are. Beliefs are just thoughts that we replay over and over in our mind. That's all they are. That's all they are. They are just thoughts that we replay over in our minds. Now, she added here a Rumi poem, which is it's kind of really a cool poem, and it kind of points out a lot of different things. So Rumi writes, I must have been incredibly simple or drunk or insane to sneak into my own house and steal money, to climb over my own fence and take my own vegetables, but no more. I have gotten free of that ignorant fist that was pinching and twisting my secret self. The universe and the light of the stars come through me. I am the crescent moon put up over the gate to the festival. Now she continues and she says, I love this verse because it illustrates so clearly how we get into a trance of limiting beliefs and injure ourselves and each other with our thoughts and our way of behaving. There is a longing to wake up from the twisting, pinching clutch of that ignorant fist. So we start looking at the beliefs that separate the judging beliefs of right and wrong, the beliefs of personal failure. There really is a pure heart in us that does not want to be bound by these limiting constructs. I know it. So real but not true. There is a fundamental understanding that is helpful as we begin to look at our illusions of reality. Tibetan teacher Sakanyi Rinpoche coined the phrase, I think I butchered that name, but he coined the phrase real but not true. What this means is that while thoughts are really happening and there is a real biochemistry that accompanies them, they are only representations in our mind. They are not the experience of the living moment. Just like a map is not the territory that represents our thoughts, are not the reality. Our beliefs fuel our sense of separateness. Uninvestigated, they are a veil between us and reality. They actually prevent us from seeing truth. But when we deepen our attention and start seeing past the beliefs, the light of the stars starts shining through. There are two ways of paying attention that begin to clear away the illusion of our beliefs, loosen their grip. The first is inquiry, bringing interest and the attentive, laser-like quality of the mind to penetrate through the layers of the belief. And the second is mindfulness, meeting what arises with a quality of full embodied presence. Now that kind of goes to what I've been talking about, how, self-reflection and awareness, and then becoming mindful in that awareness. So you really self-reflect. And she continues on and saying basically what that inquiry is. What am I believing right now? We can begin to identify and challenge limiting beliefs by starting with a simple question. What am I believing right now? And then, is this true? Is this possible that this is real but not true? Even if your answer is yes, just asking the question enlarges the space that you occupy and opens up the possibility that what you are believing is a representation and not the reality of what is happening, real but not true. Next, you might explore, what is it like to live with this belief? How is this belief affecting my life? Sensing our suffering around the belief begins to open us to compassion and leads us to ask, what does this place in me most need? What would bring healing? What would my life be like if I wasn't living inside this belief? Those are pretty tough questions to ask yourself. But they really kind of put you in that, in a really great, that third-party awareness I was talking about, where you look at yourself and you kind of figure out why you're doing what you're doing. As we practice mindfulness and seek to disempower our false illusions, the thoughts and feelings still come, but we learn to believe them less. When we rest in a larger space where we are less confined by our thoughts and beliefs, we begin to sense a larger possibility that calls our heart and soul towards their own natural awakening, and the kind of compassion that brings healing to ourselves and to the world around us. Now, this article was adapted, she adapted this from a talk she gave last year. And that talk was called Real But Not True, Freeing Ourselves from Harmful Beliefs. I think I can, I'll put a link, because there's a link here that will take you to that if you want to hear the actual talk. But I love that because, inquiry and mindfulness are really important, because if you don't understand what you're doing, and if you can't see, yourself and your behaviors, and see how your beliefs may actually be hindering you, then it's really impossible to grow. As she says, it creates that space. So if you can picture, I talk about how fear or an ego and doubt, and they put you in this prison, and it can be this really tiny, small prison. It can contract you really, really deep inside yourself, just contract you and never give you space. So by doing the inquiry and being mindful, you create that space. So your prison starts to become bigger and bigger and roomier and roomier. And eventually the prison melts away, which is ultimately what we want. We want to live, as I've mentioned many times, with an open and expanded, compassionate heart. And, removing these limiting beliefs, these beliefs that don't really serve us in any way. I've mentioned in a couple of my videos that one of my biggest limiting belief was I wasn't good enough. How is that going to help me? To continue to think that helps the ego. Helps the ego because it keeps me in my little prison. But it doesn't help my higher self. It doesn't help me fully be the person that I want to be as I walk through this world. So I really want to create that space where I can expand and be able to grow. And, I love this whole concept. I get so excited. I know I sit there and I'm like, oh, it's amazing, it's amazing, it's amazing. But I can't tell you, this stuff sets my soul on fire. It really does. Being able to, and it could be my geek mind. I don't know. I love how the mind works. I remember being 14 years old in 8th grade and saying, I'm going to be a psychologist when I get bigger. But this stuff, learning how the mind and body relate to one another, it just lights my soul on fire, and I just love it. So I get very passionate. I get very energetic. So I apologize. But I do love what I do. And I think it's Confucius said, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. Well, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But so that is my message today. Pay attention to your beliefs and do the inquiry and be mindful. And you might ask yourself, are these real? Am I really going to die tomorrow if I don't get this job? I mean, just really kind of, pay attention to yourself. You can kind of be, one of these great things that you can do, especially in enlightenment teachings, is you watch the thinker. And this is Eckhart Tolle thing. You watch the thinker, and the thinker is this thing, and the author I'm going to talk about tomorrow is Michael Singer. And he has an amazing book called The Untethered Soul. And the whole first part of the book is all about the roommate in your head. And I love it. I love visuals. I love visuals. So when you watch The Thinker, you're watching this like crazy little person in your head going, no, we can't do this. No, we can't do this. But you're watching something. So you can't be that voice in your head. You can't be the roommate. So by doing this practice of watching The Thinker and kind of stepping away and seeing how your brain reacts to this world around us, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. But I want to stress one thing. When you start doing self-reflection, and I'm sure a lot of you, if you're following this video series, you've been doing a lot of self-reflection, because I beat it into you. Beat it into you. But, you know, when you start doing this self-reflection, you start to realize that, you know, all of these crazy thoughts in our head, that's really not us. It's just these beliefs and these perceptions and illusions that we, you know, that are just constructs of our own psyche, our ego. And it's incredible. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. Tara Brach is the teacher. She's amazing. True Refuge and Radical Acceptance. Those are her 2 books. And I will put a link to this, the talk that this article came from down below. So, you know, open invitation to my spirituality group, Become Your Best Self and Transform Your Life. We'd love to have you. And also, if you are really interested in this stuff that I teach, this enlightenment stuff that I teach, please private message me. I'd love to work with you one-on-one and have a chat and see if we are a good fit, and see if this stuff really resonates with you. I'm a big believer that enlightenment is the source of everything, and then through enlightenment you can become empowered and you can recreate and redesign your life. And it's an amazing thing. So I will say goodnight, and as always, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and walk in love and light. And I will see you tomorrow for day 18. Bye-bye.